Yeah, I want to come straight to you on this one, Liam, first of all, because you talk about Ajax.
Yeah.
When it's first mooted, we don't know how true it is, whether or not Rio is being sought for the technical director's job. A lot of people said, he's never managed, he's never coached, this is another knee-jerk reaction from Ed Woodward. But when you said earlier on this evening, Ajax, why don't we copy their model? They have had Van der Sar, they've got Overmars, they've got Bergkamp, and they have taken those players and made sure they are around the club. And not because not all great players are great coaches or technical directors, but it's as though they've made them part of their DNA.
100%.
So on that basis, would you be encouraged for Rio going into that role, despite never managing or coaching?
No, well, it's not a coaching or management role. Right? It depends. You know, if different technical directors have different roles now. But I think the principles are right. You spoke about the boot room culture at Liverpool back in the day. You speak of Sir Alex Ferguson, for me, was the first technical director before the term technical director was coined, because he didn't just manage the first team. He set up the whole academy, he set out his recruitment, he set out the coaches that he wanted to work in the academy, and there was a clear, consistent culture and theme running through that club. And as soon as he left, it completely just eroded and fell away. And Manchester United now, I think, have understood we need to get a semblance of that culture and identity back. You look at the top clubs, Manchester City, before they appointed Guardiola, they get Bagiristan, because he set up through the academy before what they knew Guardiola was going to come in. There's a clear, consistent philosophy running through that club. Ajax are the same. Barcelona, La Masia for years. The clubs that have a long-term, consistent philosophy over a consistent amount of time, they win trophies. And Manchester United had that under Alex Ferguson, who was an absolute, unique, one in a billion manager. What do you think? I mean, as Liam rightly said, you'd need to know whether or not Rio is the right fit if you knew the exact brief for the job, because there's many different types of technical director. You can be in charge of recruitment, you can be in charge of the academy. Do you get involved with the first team? Do you get involved with transfers? It's what would his brief be? But if you flipped it, what would you want, if you're a Manchester United, what would you want Rio Ferdinand to bring to the table?
Well, most technical directors are jack of all trades and master of none, in my experience. Now, I think what they need at Manchester United is someone who can identify a Manchester United player. They've got, and obviously someone like Rio Ferdinand could do that because he's a Manchester United player himself. That identity of when Rio played is surely something they want to get back to. I'm sure Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to get back to that. He gives them a bit of weight. He gives them a swagger. He's a big name, big presence, good character. Would have a look at what Nicky Butt's doing with the academy, see who's coming through. Don't block up any pathways with some average players for big money. Talk to Ollie, see what he needs. I would suggest the first thing they need to do, get the Hoover out and get rid of the rubbish, what they've got within their squad, not necessarily playing-wise, but attitude-wise. They've got to get back to having an identity of how they want to play the game. At the moment, it's a scattergun approach regarding their recruitment. There's no balance within their squad. They've got players there who are not typical Manchester United players. They need to get rid of them. That's going to be easier said than done because they're on huge money. I would suggest they need to get them out of the way, subsidise some of their money, because they could be a cancer in the dressing room, some of them kids. Them players. You need to get rid of them, get back to how you need this club to be run. And at the moment, they're a million miles away from doing that. The first thing they need to do is get a sporting director. I think it's the right way to go. But they have, that person, in my opinion, has to be a Manchester United person. And so Rio Ferdinand fits the bill. Does he know the game? Yes, 100%. Does he know the manager? Does he know what the manager wants? Yes. Does he know the youth team manager, Nicky Butt? Yes. We've got an identity now. We've got a Manchester United blood running through this football club now. We've got a footprint, right? Then he needs to get a recruitment. He needs to make sure he gets that right. But he's the one who's going to be signing off on all the players. Now, the only thing Rio hasn't got going for him, which many other sporting directors have, and you see at other clubs, he's not bilingual. Now, in my opinion, that doesn't matter. The best operator there at that football club commercially is Ed Woodward. Ed Woodward is crying out for someone like Rio Ferdinand.
Football knowledge is what he needs.
Yeah, he needs a football head. Someone who can sit there and do what's right for the football club. It might take time. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of windows. It's going to take a lot of windows to get rid of the ones they don't want as well.
I know what you mean about having bad people in the dressing room, but I think virus or wrong sort is probably a better expression to use.
Right.
Tell me, Liam, why, though, somebody like Dan Ashworth, who's a completely different type to the one that Tim has described, the DNA that Tim described...
Yeah, it depends.
Why is somebody like Dan Ashworth right for that role when he doesn't have the pedigree or the magnitude that Rio does?
If you look at the job that Dan Ashworth done, we spoke about Paul Mitchell, who's not a big name in the game, but the job he's done wherever he's been as a technical director or sporting director has been absolutely incredible. What Dan Ashworth's done with England, with their DNA, you see the fruits of the labour that they put in now, likes of Sancho. They've all come through the England youth systems, but England, we talk about identities, they looked at Germany, they looked at Spain, they looked at Brazil, Argentina, they all had their own footballing identity. For years, we didn't as England. I see Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard talking about playing 4-4-2 and being outnumbered in midfield and being frustrated that they weren't at the tactical level that their club managers were at, Mourinho at Chelsea or Benitez at Liverpool. He's created that for England. So England now, for the next 10 years, will have a clear identity. I don't understand why football clubs have a scattergun approach in the recruitment of players, in their recruitment of managers. It just doesn't make sense from a financial point of view or a footballing point of view. And I think more and more clubs will go down the route of technical directors in the future to have a clear identity and philosophy and fit people within that structure.
Do you think that coaches, rather than feel threatened by sporting directors, would actually welcome
Not
them now?
anymore.
They shouldn't.
Not anymore, I don't think they do. I think that's old hat now. I think that it didn't work in previous years because we always looked at the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger and said, well, they don't have one, so why should we?
They were technical directors in themselves.
But they need help. It's massive now. It's huge. Every facet of the football club is massive. Too much for the manager to deal with. Like we talk about Manchester United because that's the subject. Ed Woodward does brilliantly. There's no one better commercially than him. He needs someone on the footballing side. Now, that should be a...
Maybe that's... Sorry to interrupt you, Tim, but maybe that's their problem. They've focused too much on the commercial, too much on...
But they need to get the commercial right to be able to give the finance to the football person for him to identify the players and give it to the manager, and then the manager needs to... work on the training field and get results.
What brands want is to be associated with winning teams. And at the moment, yes, Man United are a huge football club. I supported them. But the longer and longer time goes on, look how big Liverpool were in the 80s. They lost their way for years. They were not as commercially suitable for a top brand as Manchester United were. Why? Because Man United were winning games on the football pitch. So that will happen. If Manchester United don't get back to winning trophies and being up there with Liverpool, Man City, they won't be that commercial giant that they are now. You need to win on the pitch.
A last answer, then, on this from both of you. Who do you think Manchester United should base their model on? Which other club?
Manchester United.
No, I don't think they should copy anyone. They should get back to what they was, which was
with Fergie, which is unique. You can't do that. They've never been that.
No, but the playing style we're talking about an identity of playing style. At the moment, I think they changed too much on the pitch. You wouldn't get to see the Ajax team. He's talking about Ajax. You wouldn't see them change for no one. They play against Juventus, you play against Real Madrid, they're playing against Tottenham. Teams they shouldn't beat on paper, but they play their way. Manchester City play their way, Liverpool play their way, Tottenham play their way. We're talking about Manchester United, an institution, have to play their way and have to get back to it soon. I see them changing far too often to accommodate the opposition. Don't do that. You're Manchester United.